Okay, good morning. Welcome to Stella's Diner. We're here today with the three new counselors. Sorry, I was going to say aldermen, like the old school. Three new counselors. Beside me is Al Bieber, Rufa Doria, and Ryan Wolf, almost at Barber. And they're joining us today, and we're going to get an interesting perspective from them. They've been on council for now roughly just over 4 months to see what it's like being brand new on council, and we've got a list of questions. We're also encouraging the people in the diner here to provide some questions. So we'll start off. Oh, let's do introductions. Hi, I'm Miles Godlinton, LethbridgeRealEstate.com, and this is my son and partner, Ryan Godlinton. So you know the guests, now you know who we are. It's always good to know who we are. Question number one. We'll start to the left. So what motivated you to go on council, Al? You've been in the Lethbridge Herald forever.
Yeah. Well, it's a complicated issue because I've spent 45 years in the media and I've done so many different stories here and back in Ontario where I started out, so many issues. And it just seemed a natural progression because I wasn't ready to retire yet. I wanted to contribute something to the community in a different way. And I thought the best way I could do it, since this is my home, I love this city, I wanted to make a positive contribution in a different way. And it just seemed a natural step, especially after all in council for the last 4 years. I got to know insides and outs of City Hall, and it just felt like the natural thing to do. And here I am.
Excellent.
Thanks to a lot of support.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time in the council meetings.
I did.
Yeah. Rufa, tell us why.
Okay. First and foremost, I love Lethbridge. Okay. When I moved here I did my studies, my PhD at McGill University. When I moved here in 2010 to work at the Lethbridge Research Center, I already felt Lethbridge is home. I feel that one. So that motivates me to stay and maybe to serve. So at that time, I don't have any idea to run for a council. But as time goes on, I became a leader with the community. I became the president of the Filipino Association. So I served as a president then. Then I served also as the vice president of the Ethnic Association, Southern Alberta Ethnic Association. So with those experiences and with the interaction with the community, like they said, Rufa, please make our voice heard and be our representative. So it took me a while to think about it. But when I reflected and I feel that, Rufa, you have the skill set to be in the council, then try to put your name there. I started to put my name in 2021. I ran in 2021, but due to time constraints and other family concerns, so I did not make it. It's not really the reason, but I think I did not do a legwork more to become a council member. But when the 2025 election came, again, I decided together with these people around me, they are really my inspiration to run for the council. So I put my name in. But again, I did my legwork. I introduced myself to the community that this is my platform. This is why I'm running for the council. So that makes me decided to run. And again, with your question, what are the motivations behind? So the people around with the community and Lethbridge as a whole. That's all that I can say.
Okay, thank you. Ryan.
I think for myself, one of the big motivations was just, I think, observing municipal politics and seeing what I perceived to be a gap in representation for what I felt was like the common person's concerns, like crime in 2021, massively with crime and drugs at that time. Our crime severity index, we were number one in the nation. Like we had a lot of things that weren't right. And that were very, very troubling, I think, for most citizens of Lethbridge. And so I felt that there was my voice was needed to try to bring some, I guess, heightened attention or heightened focus on issues that really, really impact everyday people. And we were getting a little too far into the weeds of a bureaucratic situation where it was a lot of agendas, some legacy projects and things like this that were really, I think, a little bit tone deaf to what was going on in the community. And unfortunately, a lot of that stuff wasn't necessarily rectified in the ensuing 4 years after I also did not make my first attempt by 265 votes.
But we're not counting.
So, by the time 2025 rolled around, there was a lot of, I think, momentum behind my vision and my beliefs. It was communicated to me that, I had to just get back in there. And so, along with these folks, lots of hard work, lots of trying to articulate a vision and a message. And I think it resonated with the citizens. So I'm happy to lend my voice to try to collaboratively make sure our focus is where it needs to be and that we accomplish things as opposed to just being politicians.
There's a lesson and a message there too, especially for these two, because you were a slam dunk. Everybody knew Al Bieber. He was a given. He already had the seat, right? But you both ran and then didn't get in, but you didn't say, I'm quitting, I'm going to give up. And you came back again and you both got in. So credit to you. And that's a lesson to everybody that doesn't make it the first time. Not necessarily council, but anything in life, right?
Yes.
Right?
So during the campaign, what issue came up most often when you're speaking to the residents of Lethbridge? Ladies first.
Okay, so most of the time that I heard is mostly on the transportation, especially that I'm very much connected in the university. I'm sitting there as a Senate member of the university, and then I have some interaction with the students. They were concerned with the scheduling of the bus, like from the university coming to the CP. And then there are many issues that they want to raise about the transportation. That's first. But also there was a given issue there about the third bridge. And then it was really an issue that needs a thorough consideration, a thorough explanation, but it doesn't resonate me so much because I know that that is not the pressing concern at the moment. Then what else? Transportation, that bridge, and the other thing is safety in the neighborhood. There was one experience for me that, oh, Rufa, come to the north side. You can experience what safety that I'm trying to let you know that our big concern here in the north side. So they bring me to that house that already closed this time. So those are the three main issues that came to during my campaign trail.
Awesome. Thank you.
With me, and I heard this the previous 4 years when I was covering council, the big one was property tax. That 5.2% increase that they did in 2022, and I was at every meeting, that was huge for people because what happened is they didn't raise taxes for a few years, so they are playing catch up. The police budget had to be increased because that was a huge concern, like Brian said earlier. Crime, and I worked downtown. It was a tough situation here, and they needed to increase the police budget. We needed to take care of fire and EMS. But those property taxes, people were livid about it. Another big one, the elephant in the room, it's a massive one, Lethbridge and District Exhibition. How that building was built without the complete and necessary oversight that it needed to make sure it was not only on budget, but it was also the right focus because it's an ag building and there were no places to have cattle.
Yeah,
It's an agriculture building. So you've got all these different rooms, which to me, clearly, I still think, and I don't know if somebody can say I'm wrong, but it seems intended to compete with hotels for conferences. People who have money in the game. They have their own money invested in this. And that to me is unfair because it's supposed to be a conference center, which again brings up another situation, the airport. The airport is a huge situation here that's going to make that LDE to grow, or I guess Excite Lethbridge to bring in conferences, big events. That's a big handicap until we get regular air service. And again, the bridge is an issue. I mean, that's a one-time issue, but I actually had one of my good friends says, you need to work on this thing because that was a key thing. And, hopefully that'll get straightened out. I like this idea of a 70-kilometer speed limit. I don't follow it as much as I should, but I like it, to be honest.
If you're on the west side, not too many people do it.
Yeah, but I mean, it is slowing people down to 90.
Yeah.
And, again, crime is a concern. I mean, but thankfully, crime is, thanks to the previous council, increasing the police budget. We've got more boots on the ground downtown, and we've got a scan unit in town in the city, which is immense. So those were issues.
Sound right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, those are highlighted issues. I think my approach, so, I mean, my wife and I knocked. And when I say knocked, I don't mean leave a flyer. I mean knock to talk. And we knocked somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 doors. And so,
Let's see your knuckles.
actually, I did wipe out once. I think if they've got it on their door cam, they're probably still laughing at me. But, it was just very evident. And, this is something that I've shared from council is this constant, the taxation. And again, what happens when you have an overly bureaucratic or an overly entrenched city council and management is everybody chooses to forget that we're spending taxpayers' money, not my money. We're spending other people's money, and that spending does not happen in a bubble. So when we increase taxes, it's not just that's not the only hit the taxpayers taking. They're getting it from how much they're paying to put their kids in hockey. They're getting it from how much they're paying for groceries, how much they're paying for insurance. We don't raise in a vacuum where we're the only hit. So I think this is something that, definitely people on the door, number one, we tracked it on a Google survey app that I had. Number one, taxation. So there's two things. We're either not explaining it very well as to why it has to be, or people are correct, and there's some ways for us to be more efficient and to make adjustments where necessary to alleviate that. Lots of big cities are doing it. So I think, people feel like we should have the ability to do likewise. And then number two was crime. Universally, crime, which is really tough because crime is perception, right? And crime is I think if we had Stella out here, most of the downtown businesses will say that things have improved monumentally downtown. And so we just need to keep that momentum going. I'm on the police commission, and that's definitely a priority for us, is to make sure the police have what they need to execute. And, we can't change the courts. We can't change catch and release. That's a little bit out of our purview, but I think, we've made headway, but these are legitimate concerns. And I mean, safety is always going to be number one. And so we're ready to go work on that for sure.
Excellent. Thank you. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing you in the next few years in your first term?
I think it's trying to convince the public they are getting a good bang for their tax dollar. Because there's a lot of skepticism about City Hall. We hear concerns from the public. Oh, it's overstaffed. There's too much bureaucracy. But we got to figure that out. I came into this as an open line. As a journalist, you ask the questions, you get the answers. You don't make assumptions. But we have to overcome the perceptions people have by providing with answers. We need to get to the bottom of this question. What are people getting for their tax dollars? And how do we focus on priorities? And that's a problem. Needs versus wants. Some people have, it's a different perspective. Some people, arts are important. Some people say arts don't matter, it's for elites. Some people say sports facilities are important. And then people go, well, you know what? There's other things we need. But we have to figure out that balance because everybody in this community has a different idea between a need and a want. But right now, we seriously need to look at wastewater treatment plant. That's a huge consideration here. We need to look at serving water. We need a strategy that specifically states Lethbridge is going to focus on water management in some way or shape or form because of the impact of climate. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to convince the public we are doing our job and that they are getting the best bang for their tax dollars. And that's a lot of work ahead.
Okay. Rufa?
Okay, I will add to that comment with Al. Yes, there is, for me, the challenge is we know the issue. we know something to be improved or something to be taken care of. The challenge there is how to let the public knows what are the communication means for them to know and understand. Okay, although there are programs for engagement, public engagement, a lot of information in the city website. There are a lot there, but sometimes a resident really needs to be explained on how this affect to their lives. So I just want to give you an example, just an example. They send out, there are surveys that are sent out there, but people, it's easy for them to answer yes, no, but sometimes they feel, oh, I don't understand that question. I just answered that. So there is a challenge in letting the public know what we, the city or the council, wants to impart to them. So that is one challenge that we are that I feel that needs to be helped out, to be worked out, where we can disseminate the information, we can let them understand what is this all about before we can bring that to back to the table and work it out whether we can go in this way or in this and the other way. So to summarize, the big challenge I'm facing now is to how to get out the message properly and how to determine whether the residents really take the message, they understood the message as what you want them to understand. So that's
I'm going to throw in a side question after Ryan responds, because you brought something up that I think I'm going to pose to you. Go ahead, Ryan.
I think honestly some of our biggest challenges, and these are all super valid. Engagement is a big challenge. Is how do we get the message out? You know, we have excellent social media resources. We have an excellent website. I mean, literally, you can find anything, but most people don't want to like have to search and have to find that. So I wish somehow we could communicate, you know, all the really good things that are happening kind of more effectively. But for me, one of the other really big challenges is we have some very, again, just entrenched ways of thinking within council and within management, and to the extent that we struggle to adapt and be more, I think, proactive, we will see a lot of the same things happen where, you know, like, to what extent are we willing to look at wants versus needs? To what extent are we willing to change things in order, you know, like even just, and this is by no way self-promotion, but just as an example, you know, even discussing, you know, how to address some parking issues, you know, becomes a debate about, you know, can this be something that's dealt with in 28 to 32? You know, we're just caught in this like, well, that, no, you can't have that happen that quickly. Oh, no, you can't address that. It's got to happen in, you know, for the 4 year. And I am struggling with that because I think the taxpayer expect us to act and expect us to make changes where necessary to make their lives better. And again, this is somewhat my own personal thing, although, you know, the council supported it at the time. But I think that is something that will continue to pose a challenge for my personality, is the concept of everything has to take 4, 5, and 6 years versus, well, no, we've identified this challenge. We've identified this need. Wastewater, we're up against the wall. If we want to grow, if we want to develop, wastewater is number one. It ain't sexy, but it's number one. So things like this will continue to be big challenges. But what I want to see is just willingness and agenda to be more proactive in tangible ways. We can talk about governance and all the fancy political words till the cows come home. But if we're not proactively doing things, I think personally it's a bit of a failure.
And I can appreciate that. My follow-up question would be, and I think it resonated with you, Rufa, and it was on the ballot, but do you think award system you would be able to communicate with your constituents on better. For example, if there was a ward for the west and the south and the north, would it be easier to do that communication to that section? And that's just when you were talking about it, I was wondering, would that be a better way?
Okay. So thank you for the question. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, we thought about it. But again, first and foremost, we need to have a good definition of everything what we have to do. So you mentioned ward. I have first to define how big is our CP? How big is our location? So is it worth to have a ward system for this location or not yet? Okay. So talking about Lethbridge, we have to define, we have to look deeper into Lethbridge. What is the size of that Lethbridge, or is Lethbridge is growing enough, or Lethbridge is well developed enough? Why I'm saying that? Because it will affect the ward system. If Lethbridge is too big of a city that cannot be seen by the council as one, maybe ward system is a good thing. And if, like, see Calgary, Calgary is a huge city. So that's why they implemented the ward system, so that in a certain ward, they can see what are the needs of this community. But for Lethbridge, we have to look into, can we not see north, west, south yet as one? Why we have to consider ward? Then the ward system also does not exist without cost. So we have to balance whether it is really appropriate now to do the ward system or not yet. So there are things that we need to define. There are things that we need to look at so that we can implement what is the best for the city. That's how I will answer. Did I answer your question?
Yes. I'd like you both to weigh in on brief comment on that.
Well, I actually campaigned on having a ward system. A lot of people wanted it. And I actually had discussions with the politicians from a major Canadian city, discuss this about how it benefits the community because it gets more voices, diverse voices in there. And I read in the States, a lot of times ward systems are going to be implemented now because it's more effective. But we had this discussion in council, Jim, and I voted to support it. We lost 3-6, and when I heard the arguments that Rachel Dodick and Councillor Ryan Parker were making, they made some really good arguments about why a ward system shouldn't work and can't work in a city like this. One of the main costs, but that's something from the next election, going to have to look at, because they did make a lot of sense. And after listening to them, I went ahead with my vote because I made that commitment, but they made some really good rationale why a city of this size, it's not effective. And we are 115,000 people, so we need to represent everybody around the city.
Right.
So it's got its pros and cons, but, I took my lump and I voted for it and lost.
What do you think, Ryan?
I think if you pull back a little bit, where we are at in Lethbridge is kind of our identity. Are we still a city of 50 to 70,000 people?
Yeah.
Or are we now a metropolis? The big city with, complex issues, complex problems that need some kind of more focused representation. And this is, I guess, the question that then you bring an award system. Well, if we are this big city and there's no way possible that Al Bieber has any concept of what's going on in the 6 Mile. What did you think?
Never.
I'll never.
So, that becomes, I guess, the question kind of pulled back from a distance is there this need? So I think that day when we kind of had a big in-depth conversation in council, was staring down, I think that the big thing was just right now there is some definite fear of incurring costs to anything.
Exactly.
See, like, there are more important issues to deal with.
And that is not to marginalize the voice of the people, and the voice of the people is super important. The challenge is again to communicate to the people that this isn't a vote of us ignoring you or a vote of us, marginalizing your voice. It's a it's a case of we see the numbers, we know what's coming, and right now it is just for us not the sword to die on, and so I think that's the reason the vote went the way it was.
And there's some storm clouds on the horizon as far as budgets go, so we have to be cognizant of that too.
The other important thing, Miles, that I have to consider, all the decision we have to do is should be supported with data and information. It should be well-informed decision. But so far, again, there are things that we need to define now. There are things that we need to look deeper whether we can pursue on that decision. So for now, I think it's not the biggest priority for now. But as we go on, maybe it will be the focus that we will be looking at so that it can be implemented in a proper way.
All right, maybe we'll jump into the lightning round, have a little bit of fun.
Thank you.
So just one word.
Hawaiian pizza. It's always Hawaiian pizza. Yes, it's a
We
pizza.
didn't have that one on there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we'll just do the one word answer. Coffee or tea? Neither. There you go. Water. Yes. Yep. Yourself?
Tea.
Coffee all the way, man.
Early meetings or late emails?
Late.
Oh no, mine is
You
early.
guys are killing me this morning already.
I'm at 4:00 in the morning early.
Oh, I arrived earlier than Al. Okay,
I had actually him from my hot tub. He's sitting on his Zach at 4:30 in the morning.
One word to describe the city.
Amazing. I saw your word, didn't I?
yeah, you stole my word. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very good. Very good.
Oh,
There you go. Your local favorite spot to go.
I like me a walk around Henderson. Yep.
Okay, I just want, I love Monique store. Like the Monique store, I go there every time, like for my clothing. But they are closing this 31st, the end of this March. Like they are closing. So I missed my favorite shop. Like, yeah, they exist for 16 years. They told me. Then they are closing, and I don't know the details, but I'll be missing that. But regarding a place that I'm so happy to stay with is the. Why are you looking to me? It's the Indian Battle Park. I love it.
Yeah, good choice.
Nickel Sharon Lake. I'm there every morning at 4:30.
Taking the dog for a walk.
4:30 during winter time.
Yeah. So one thing you would fix tomorrow if you could.
Oh my God.
If one thing I could fix, I would love it if we could zero-sum transit instead of it being it's a big cost. Yeah.
I don't know how to fix, but I just want to learn more on how we can save, like how we can save in order not to increase our property taxes.
I would say the wastewater treatment plant, due to its significance, not only to us but for our entire region.
Yeah, we supply a lot of industry outside of Lethbridge water.
Well, in the county. Yeah, that's not as
Okay.
And puddles.
They got a little bit of head start this year with the day sweat.
Yeah. And I guess, kind of in closing, what's the best way for the local citizens to reach out to you?
I have a council Facebook page. Plus, I'm accessible. Everybody knows who I am.
Right.
And anybody can approach me anytime, any place.
Also, they can reach me through emails. My name is already out there. And I'm also very active with the different ethnic groups, Vietnamese groups, anybody. Like, they can sometimes just pop up to my office and say, this is my concern, Lufa. So, again, I'll be accessible like anytime.
Thank you.
Kind of a global answer is we have changed things a little bit at City Hall. We now have what are called CIC meetings, and those will happen bi-weekly. So usually the week after City Council, and those meetings are open to the public. You can come.
What is CIC?
Community Issues Committee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the old SPCs.
Right. So the difference being now that, you know, people can come and speak, they can share their thoughts. There's a forum for people to be able to talk to us, address concerns and stuff. So I would encourage people. I know it's not super fun and they can be somewhat boring, but if you want to get an idea of how the city functions, come to a few of these meetings.
So they're the week after city council.
Sometimes
They're pretty well. They're supposed to end up being every other week, but right now you'd have to check the schedule. But I mean, city council is great to come, but you can't talk. Right. So you can observe. And it is, I mean, for me, prior to the election, I was attending the meetings because I wanted to get an idea of how these things work. And it really is illuminating. And so if you can do that, you're going to learn a lot very quickly about how the city works and understand that there's really no simple solutions, you know. And then personally, obviously, email, cell phone, Facebook, not so much. I'm old, but cell phone, email, you can get a hold of me.
And that's there is also a tool called 311. So if the residents have some concerns, they just have to dial 311 and the city can explain to them their concerns.
Those meetings that they posted on the city. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're posted, they're recorded, they're live streamed. Yes.
They just go to the search bar CIC.
Just go city council meetings. It'll show you all the schedule of all the different.
And that includes the CIC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my office overlooks the foyer, so if I see Miles, bring out the red carpet for Miles and bring.
Actually, I was talking to the person in the utilities, and they said, "Oh, as soon as you walk in the door, Al runs."
Dude, I can't run.
So that's a great note to finish on. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes,
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I actually was a little bit thinking about throwing my hat in for council, and my campaign would don't vote for me because I'm not going to vote with the main flow anyhow. But I think you all have a really good perspective and a different perspective being new, and that's important.
Well, and we get along really well too. I mean, we all see things from a different perspective. We've had differences on voting stuff, but yeah, like you say, we have different perspectives. We're new, and we're trying to work together, I would think, to sort of get our names out there and show that, you know, we're not part of the old guard. We're something new. I'm not new, I'm old, but something different, right?
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate that.
I think there's questions. My
Food. Oh yeah, let's go.
Oh my God.
Harry.
One of those jokers from this gentleman over the field.
Oh, thanks, boss.
Oh, okay. We'll start with this one. For the people that are visiting here today, we wanted to thank them because we're interrupting their coffee hour or their breakfast. And so Ryan and I picked up the tab for all of the guests here today.
Oh, no.
And so this is from one of the people. Yeah, you guys could stay and dine. Thank you for the meal. It was a super nice surprise. Gee, I hope this isn't funded through our tax dollars.
Make sure Miles not.
There, you got younger eyes. Good grief.
Yeah, well, we're going to send out a lot in the email to you guys. So there's some client questions that we had. They're a little bit more long-winded, so we're going to send it out to all the councilman members. Sure. And then they'll look forward to you guys' reply to that.
Right. So again, with that, it's going to be a wrap. And hey, we'll check in another 6 months or so.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, anytime.